let's have some fun, guys, because I have a fun one coming. And I don't want to say every video is fun, but this is a fun one. You ever hear codes in Disney World? And what I'm talking about is you might hear a cast member say, hey, we have a code U, we have a code V. Let's talk about what these codes mean, because some of them are hilarious and some of them are Let's unlock Disney. So when we're at Disney World and we're having a good time and everything, every once in a while you'll overhear cast members on their little walkies or just in general, and usually on rides, you'll hear a code A or a code U or V and things like that. Because there are certain things that happen, like if someone happens to puke in the middle of Pirates of the Caribbean, you're not going to hear a cast member say, hey, we got to clean up some puke. That's not going to happen. They have codes for all this. So this is a way that they say what has to happen without getting people in the area talking. But that's all going to change now, because I'm going to let you know what every code means. At any rate, this is a fun one, and let's just kick it off. If you ever hear code 101, this is not such a bad one. Code 101 just simply means that a ride is down, or an attraction is down, I should say, because Disney doesn't have rides, they have attractions. And then if it's going to come back up, you will hear code 102. So those are some basic ones. Also, if you hear Weather 101, that means that a ride is down or an attraction is down because of the weather. And again, code 102 means it's coming back up. So those are some basic ones. Now let's jump into what code A means. Code A is one of those ones that's pretty gross, okay? But if you think about it, I don't want to say I get why people do this, but let me just say, code A means that human ashes have been seen. Yeah, code A stands for ashes. This is so gross. But when people pass on that were big Disney fans and they are cremated, a lot of times they want their family to spread their ashes in Disney World. And the top place that this happens is the Haunted Mansion, which makes sense. And I also understand that Pirates of the Caribbean, also this happens a lot on there. So if you are on the ride and you hear code A, you're riding with dead people ashes. That's just pretty much what's happening. This is very illegal, guys. Do not do this in any way, shape, or form. I know for a second you might think, oh, that's sweet. Have my ashes, it's gross actually. And it's very bad. Okay. It's not healthy. We're going to move on. So code A stands for human ashes. Let's move on to code H. Now, code H has a fun kind of reasoning for the letter H, but not a fun meaning. Code H stands for honey. Honey is Winnie the Pooh's favorite thing. I think you see where I'm going with this. Winnie the Pooh. So when you hear a code H, it means somebody pooped on the ride, or on the attraction, or in the park somewhere. If you hear a code H, it's best for you to just keep walking, pay attention to where you're walking, but just keep moving, because code H stands for poop. Now from code H, we can go to code U, and I bet you already know what the U stands for. I'm going to give you a second. Think about it. If we just talked about poop, okay, I don't want to get gross. Code U stands for urine. Again, if you are on an attraction and you see that it's closed because of code U, you know somebody peed. Code U stands for pee on the ride. All right, let's keep going. I think I'm giggling too much in this, but I find this very funny. I guess maybe it's just like child humor. I don't know. But you know what? It's okay. Let's move on to code V. Now, code V happens a lot, and I think this is another one that you would know right away when you place the letter V. V is for vomit. Unfortunately, this happens much more often than you probably think it would. So when you hear code V, or that a ride is closed for code V, you know it probably won't take that long for it to start back up again, because it just means they have to clean up some vomit. Now that we got the humor out of the way, this is a serious one. If you ever hear code Alpha, please pay attention to your surroundings, understand what's going on. Code Alpha actually is one of the worst things you can hear because that means that an ambulance had to be called. That means something is very bad. So please, if you do hear a Code Alpha, just pay attention to your surroundings and be safe. Because if cast members or other people are saying, you know, don't come this way, blah, 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 and you heard a Code Alpha, it's legit. Just walk away and let, you know, professionals take care of what they have to take care of. All right, so let's move on to Signal 70. If you hear Signal 70, that means we have a lost parent. Because remember, in Disney World, there's no such thing as a lost child. But there are lost boys on Peter Pan. That was bad. I need to write a script because I need to stay away from such things. Okay, Signal 70 simply means we have a lost parent. Now, whenever a child is separated from their parents, go to the baby care center because that is where you can get reunited again. So if you hear Signal 70, it means we have a lost parent, not child, but we need to get things together. Okay, now here's a couple fun ones, okay? These are fun because I've heard these used and never placed why terminology was changed. So as you know, I'm sure you've noticed that if you buy anything in Disney World, you are called a guest. When it's the next person's up, oh, next guest, please. You're never called a customer. Now, if you hear somebody called a customer, that's a problem because being called a customer typically means you're a shoplifter. So if you hear a cast member saying we have a customer somewhere, that means they're feeling like somebody's stealing stuff. You don't want to be a customer. You want to be a guest. Also, if you hear somebody being called a treasured guest, that doesn't mean like you're a great guest. A treasured guest usually means that you're kind of being a jerk. If you hear somebody being called a treasured guest, that means they're a problem or a troublemaker or just a jerk, and they're kind of letting the other cast members know like, hey, this is going on right now. You do not want to be called a treasured guest, okay? Let's stay away from that. All right, guys, so I had a lot of fun like going through all these codes and stuff. I'm sorry if the video got long, but I'm not really that sorry. It was fun, and I hope that the next time you're in Disney World that you may hear one of these signals or one of these codes and be like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what that means. And hopefully it's not one of the bad ones happening right next to you. And hopefully you're not a treasured guest, but just a regular guest. All right, guys.